Yes, my dears, I can't even tell you how upset I am that another promise has been broken. Maybe you are too, if you've already heard about this news. I had actually planned to report here on the whole topic of drones. There are one or two really quite interesting things there. But then, of course, this afternoon a latest message came in. No, not from the classic mainstream media. Focus didn't report on it. They keep telling some stuff about the Wiesen, etc. Die Welt didn't report on it either. No, this news comes this time from both Apollo News and Bild. I don't read Bild at all. I only get the information, if at all, either through Journalistenwatch or Apollo News, etc. PP, right? And it's really an absolute outrage. I'm so angry I can't even tell you. The gentlemen of our Black-Red coalition had promised something. Yes, in any case, there should be tax relief for all those who are high achievers, who want to actively contribute. Pensioners who work longer, people who work overtime, the whole part-time story. All that was supposed to become very, very favorable. And what has happened now? Stop the whole thing. It's on hold. And the bad thing is, we unfortunately have to assume that there will be no tax relief at all. We'll take a closer look at the details now. And with that, a warm welcome. Nevertheless, at Warum.kritisch with Lil, think clearly and definitely decide for yourself. Because this topic in particular, of course, has consequences if there is no tax relief for overtime, if pensioners who work longer do not receive tax advantages. Where on earth is the motivation supposed to come from to really trust this government? To perhaps vote for the CDU or the SPD again in the next election? That's not really to be expected. At Apollo News, by the way, we read the following. The federal government wanted to give pensioners, part-time workers and employees with overtime tax advantages. But the plans are now on ice, on hold, and whether they will ever really be implemented is totally questionable. And the most blatant thing is, only 10 days ago these promised tax reliefs for this group of those who work overtime, the pensioners and the part-time workers, were in the draft of the Federal Ministry of Finance in black and white. You have to imagine that, please. What has happened here within 10 days? Can someone please explain that? Has the world ended? It's unbelievable. What kind of weather vanes are these? I always thought they were just softies. But no, they're also weather vanes. They don't differ in the slightest from the traffic light government. You really have to say it like that. They even topped the whole thing. The outrage at this government is so immensely high after such a short time. I think the last government took a few days longer for that, right? Until everyone pretty much woke up, or do you remember? Specifically, it was about raising the tax-free additional income limit for working pensioners from £1,000 to $2,000 per month. And overtime bonuses should be tax-free, as well as a top-up bonus of up to $4,500 per year. None of that will be implemented here now, not until further notice. And of course, tax relief for us citizens means that the federal budget will of course be lower. Oh, they're only realizing after 10 days that that's not feasible because the coffers are too tight if you don't have too much to distribute. That's really unbelievable. But you know, there was also this message at the same time, right? Friedrich Merz would like to use this frozen Russian assets. What for? No, not for you and not for me either, not for Germany at all, but for Ukraine, for loans to Ukraine. Isn't that wonderful? You can't believe it. By the way, government circles told Bild, I quote, "Work continues on the overtime bonuses and part-time premiums. That should first be discussed with the unions and employers. Yes, you should have done that beforehand, right? Before you write such nonsense into the draft at the Federal Ministry of Finance, how can I promise something before I haven't spoken to the relevant partners, i.e., the union and employers? It couldn't be more unprofessional." And we may still remember the coalition agreement that the gentleman presented to us so grandiosely here. What was in the coalition agreement at the time? I quote, "Anyone who wants to work more voluntarily should have more net from gross. We will immediately make overtime bonuses tax-free." Immediately nothing put on ice. And the justification, there is no justification. Why the projects have ultimately stalled remains open. Nobody knows, and no explanation is given except for this flimsy explanation that you would have to speak to unions or employers. Yes, what nonsense. And Bild refers to coalition circles, but there are always people there who chatter a bit. And it was said that they wanted to continue working on it. But they didn't yet know whether the tax relief for those who provide overtime would come at all or perhaps not at all. So that's also possible. That is quite within the realms of possibility. And honestly, folks, we always tell our children, be diligent, work overtime. It's good for your career, it's good for your employer. It will also benefit you. And I recently told my son, hey, if you don't work overtime, that's very favorable. They have a tax exemption planned here. And he already rolled his eyes. What am I supposed to tell him now? What am I supposed to tell him at all? He's already a little annoyed, right, with this whole government. What will be the result at the end of the day? We will most likely have early federal elections. Costs extra money again. Doesn't matter at all. The CDU, CSU will go down the drain. The SPD will go down the drain. Greens and left will most likely gain. But who will take over the government responsibility? I will, of course, gladly leave the answering of this question to you. I would have a secret tip, right? Whether that will really happen remains to be seen, of course, if this one party shouldn't be banned after all. And what threatens this federal government? Yes, clear. Image damage and after electricity price increase, tax reduction and price stability for this Germany ticket, another financial relief promised not to be kept. That's how it looks. We are ruled by professionals here. You can't imagine it. I always thought the troop here in Berlin, right, was a troop of puppets and softies. But I have to tell you quite honestly, it is probably more a group of fraudsters, blenders, and unscrupulous liars. How do you see this government troop? I am therefore, as always, very much looking forward to your opinion and wish you a good time until the next video. Bye, Dille.